Stay in your lane. We are not the same. We cannot explain. Things about to change. Cause we run the game. Cause we run the game.
Howdy doody, everybody. Welcome back to yet another New Form event with me, your host, Brandon Groce, and the other co-founder of New Form, Paul Jan. And ladies and gentlemen, we have an amazing guest here today. We have Oleg Davydov here with us to bring some hot fire information for those who are interested in learning how to build an agency, understand what it takes to start one's journey into agency building, going from small to enterprise level clients and so forth. And give me a second, guys, because there's music playing that I was not expecting to have pop into my ears, so I apologize. Actually, give me a quick second to fix that. So what we're going to be doing right here, right now, is we're going to have, because I'm not going to steal his thunder, Oleg has a ton to share with us today. We have literally 3 sheets of questions to go into about Oleg's journey, how he started, and really what his vision was for building his agency, and getting into how he's used Wix Studio to build his agency, build efficiency, processes, etc. around an amazing platform, and really help you guys in really understanding how to get started on your journey as well. So Oleg, while I fix this music really quick so I can join back into the conversation, can you give us a little bit of background on who you are, what your business is, name of it, how it started, and I'll fix my technical issue in the background. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon. Thank you. Morning, afternoon, evening, everyone, depending on where you are. I'm Oleg. I'm the founder and the CEO of Davydov Consulting, the agency I named after myself. It's based in London. We do websites. We do Wix Studio websites predominantly. We also do mobile apps, which is a big part of the business. There are about 20 people who we have in our company, and it's in the range of UX UI designers, developers, mobile app developers, SEO people, SMM, everyone you need if you have an idea but you're looking for someone to bring it online. We say we do everything online related for the business.
Beautiful. So awesome. Oleg, so I have a quick question, and I'm hoping, all right, there we go. We're back on with your camera. There was a little bit of a shake and a pause in your face. So what, in the beginning, what made you want to start your agency, man? What was the catalyst?
Yeah, so when I moved to the UK, which was about 15 years ago, I started working as an IT consultant, and I was working for different clients and advising them on how to update and streamline their IT and their processes. And while doing that, obviously it wasn't my business, it was an employment, I saw a lot of inefficiencies and maybe some things that can be improved or can be optimized. So it's those things that you can do better for cheaper, sort of. And at some point I had enough and I thought maybe it's a good time to start my own business where I can do the things I think is right. And that's how it's all started. So I'm kind of married it all with my UX UI background and just cracked on doing the websites myself, proving that my thoughts are actually possible to sell and realize for customers. And that's how it started.
Love it, man. So that's just a little bit of a taste of what we're going to get into today, ladies and gentlemen. To clear the house cleaning items out of the way, I just wanted to let you know that we are streaming on 3 platforms. We are streaming on YouTube, and 2 of our platforms here on Instagram. The name of the game here today is we're gonna have, like I said, we have a long list of items to get through with Oleg in terms of not just the beginning of his journey, some of the hardest lessons he's learned in scaling his business, to really share with you guys today. But I want to let you know that we have tons of events like this in New Form all the time, at least 3 times a month. If you guys are interested in joining our community, we have, or if you're watching on Instagram further or foremost, and if you want to watch this on YouTube, make sure to put YouTube in the live chat so you can watch on the large screen. You can rewind, fast forward, and that is where the stream is recorded. If you want to join the community, put join in the live chat. We'll send you an automatic DM with how you can join our community. And if you're interested as you watch this live stream and you get interested in Wix Studio, which is Oleg's platform of choice, put Wix Studio in the live chat on Instagram. We'll send you automatic information on that as well. All right. So with that being said, basically what you were saying is like you found, instead of being told what to do, you wanted to you wanted to build your own vision around what the right way to do things was. So with that being said, you know, let's just kind of jump ship to Wix Studio really quick. With making the right decisions, and there's a huge misconception I think around Wix Studio or even Wix as a brand. It's a lot of people thinking that, you know, it's a do-it-yourself platform. What made you gravitate towards Wix Studio as the platform of choice for your agency? And let's start there because there's about 25 questions about to ensue in that.
As I said, my background is UX UI. It wasn't really a developer background. I didn't do any awards and all of that, so that's quite cool. The reason why I chose Wix Studio is this, to concentrate on design rather than on some technical aspects, and that was something that's extremely important for me. So I wanted to think only about design and nothing else, and Wix allowed me to do that. Basically, things like security, right? In Wix, there is no way to do a website insecure, right? Wix is taking care of that, and they are the one who are responsible for that. And I really like the principle of shared responsibility, where I'm responsible for the content and design, and Wix Studio is responsible for platform uptime, for security, and everything else, which is wasn't so interested to me as a designer back in time. That's probably the biggest reason. Another reason is when you do some custom solutions, lots of people do custom websites, all of that, updates and new features is your responsibility. Again, here you can kind of progress your business, your website, your designs with the platform. So there is someone else sitting there and building the new features for you, which you can use, new tools, new animation, new elements, new features, everything. So that kind of appeals, and you're feeling like someone is there with you, you know, helping you, doing something for you, and just use it, you know. So that was probably the main reasons why Wix Studio became a platform of choice back in time.
I love that, and because we even got some questions in the live chat here. Some people are asking why use Wix Studio over something like Webflow, and I would say the same thing. Honestly, in my perspective, I feel like just being able to, designer trained as well, like yourself, like much easier, just focus on design and have the platform that I'm using take care of everything else while I just focus on the design. And so you would say the same thing, basically the same answer you just gave for why you would use something like Wix Studio over something like Webflow.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And my agency, we're not biased. We also do other platform websites. Majority, like the proportion of them is less than Wix Studio, but we still cover them. We still do Shopify sites. Some clients qualified to do the Shopify. Some clients say WordPress. Okay, we'll do WordPress. If you don't want to consider other platforms, we can do that. But our kind of primary choice is Wix Studio because for us and for the client, it creates way less problems and reasons not to sleep at night. So we absolutely love it, and if we can, we use that.
Awesome. So can you give us an instance where, because I'm jumping the gun on the questions, we're amalgamating them. When it came to Wix Studio, because there seems to be, or even some, because Wix Studio is still brand new. It's about 1.5, 2 years into evolution from outside of Editor X. Pitching or positioning Wix Studio to some of your enterprise clients, how was that in the beginning? You know, a lot of people, when they hear just Wix, not even Wix Studio, obviously when people see what Wix Studio can do, the game sort of in people's minds change on it. But in the early days of presenting your clients with Wix Studio as a solution, what were some things that there was pushback on, and how did you basically help your client overcome why you guys should use Wix Studio versus platform or product?
I will start with the phrase that I have stolen from my fellow designer, which I recently heard. She said that actually, why simple and do it yourself is considered a bad thing, and I'm totally on it. I mean, why if something is simple, optimized, straightforward, why it's a simple thing? Why it's a bad thing? So that's perception that needs to be worked on with people on the call when you work with them. Regarding my agency and my calls with enterprise clients, for me, I can see a big synergy between the simplicity of updating Wix website and some of the larger client, because you would think larger client has everyone you can imagine. That's not the case. Larger clients barely have any developers or any people who can actually write the code or update some things in the back of the custom websites outside of Wix or main constructors. Instead, they have a bunch of analysts, bunch of admin staff who sometimes have nothing to do or can be utilized for some simple tasks. So the idea of doing the websites, if necessary, even do some coding and custom solution, then having that Wix dashboard, which is very easy to use if you know how to use Excel, or if you know how to use some like PowerPoint, you can do some basic edits. If you know how to use Excel, you can use Wix CMS. Enables those junior staff in those larger companies to make site updates. And that's reason number 2. Reason number 3 is the speed of updates. When we're using Wix Studio, you can do updates immediately, like literally that very second. All the enterprise clients came to me with the same problem. They say when they want to change the text on the website, they have to submit a ticket to their support help desk, which will take 3 days to process. And maybe in 3 days it will be done, or maybe not. That's not how the websites work nowadays. We need updates now. We need it live tonight, not even tonight, literally now. So there is a big thing on that, and that's how they buy in. Another thing is actually scaling. When you do custom website, again, that's principle of shared responsibility. You are responsible for the hosting and for making sure that if suddenly you wake up famous and your website gets millions of clicks overnight, your hosting can scale to that. Again, that's the problem. That's not the problem me or enterprise clients have to think about, because Wix Studio is, again, they say we can scale to millions of, well, I wouldn't say billions, but millions of clicks at the same time, parallel sessions and all of that. So it kind of, again, for enterprise clients, a lot of clicks are important. So Wix Studio is just natural answer. And believe it or not, fixed costs that comes with Wix Enterprise is also a big thing, because you pay the amount for the license and then you pay for the work of the developer, but you know that you will never pay more than that in a year. As I said, if you scale to 10 million clicks in a day outside of Wix, you will have to pay for better hosting that is able to accommodate. And while you're upgrading, your website might very well went down. With Wix Studio, doesn't matter if it's 10 clicks or 10 million clicks, you pay same amount, you're ready for everything. None of your business, none of your problem. It just works. So there are quite a lot of unique selling points. On the calls with clients, I just try to listen. I actually listen a lot of their pain points, the problems they're trying to solve, and then I build a solution and answers for those problems. That's my approach, and I recommend it.
I love it. And I can't say it any better. You put a period on the end, basically just saying it works. But I really like, from a scaling perspective, like you said, the fixed costs, the instant support, the easy updatability, and the fact that there's a dashboard where you said some of the junior members on your team actually go in and you don't have to pay a premium for a senior person to go in and make some of the edits that you make for your client. So that was a really nice breakdown of why you would choose. And really quick, for those who are watching live, we have some people who are moving from Instagram over to YouTube. Really quick, I do see in the live chat that you guys are putting interest in Wix Studio in the live chat. If you're on YouTube, that is where all the stuff that you need, any information on Oleg, any information on Studio, that information is going to be in the description box. Okay, so let's go on to the topic of, you obviously, as everybody goes through in the agency building, you start small, now you're big. How did you start in the beginning? Let's take us to day one, or even like year one. How are you getting your clients, and then trickle us down into how you scaled up into gaining, how you made the switch to some enterprise clients. So let's start year one. What were you doing to funnel in clients?
So year one, I was on my own doing the websites, and that was like a side job. It wasn't like, okay, I leave my employment and then I was doing it gradually, right? We all want security in life, so I was doing it on the side, but then that side thing just became a main thing. And then in a COVID, especially, I remember I was doing like 9 websites in 1 month myself, and that's where good ideas came to me to scale into an agency, because you just have to say no to leads, and I don't like saying no to leads. No one likes, right? Because you don't have any capacity. So we started hiring people. The most important hire was the first Velo developer, because you can immediately bring something. Velo is the programming language of Wix. If someone doesn't know, it's heavily based on JavaScript, and you can almost call it JavaScript. So yeah, that was the best decision ever, as suddenly you can do everything, like even what web constructor cannot do yet, because there is less and less functions that Wix doesn't have out of the box or off the shelf. So what's still missing, which is very less, you can do with code. So that helped to just say yes to every potential lead. And then slowly you just get one person, another person, designer, SEO person, and then you just suddenly provide full range of services, starting from branding all the way to web design, then web development. Then you do suddenly SEO and paid ads if you want, and maybe even social media manager that you have in your team. And then in the end, even mobile apps. And the custom mobile apps, so the Wix branded app, doesn't really matter. So you kind of grow with your demands. So you feel like I'm full right now. If one more lead will come tomorrow, I will have to say no, or just have to say, look, I can start in 2 weeks. I need to do some recruitment campaign. And I guess that's not ideal. So I'm always trying to have a bit of spare capacity. And to be honest, that motivates you, because you have a bit of a spare capacity. You, as a business owner, as an agency owner, want to fill it in. So it motivates you to grow. So yeah, very important.
Got you. Now I want to go even smaller. Let's pretend you're able to talk to your younger self, and like, let's say in the day of confusion, let's say year one, you don't even know how to get clients yet, and pretend you're talking to somebody who is on the journey of making or trying to build their agency, but they don't even know how to make that single. What are you telling your younger self to do specifically and tactically to be able to get that first client in the door? What are you telling?
So
What do they do? What do they?
first of all, you can just turn up on the call with the lead and not possess that confidence that you know the subject. They say it's okay to say, oh, I don't know the answer, but I will come back to you later. On a lead call, that's not fine, I think. You really need to be deep knowledge of the subject, and that's the Wix platform, what it can do, what it cannot. With your existing client, you can say, actually, you know what, let me check just to be sure. But with the lead, you need to possess that confidence, saying like, look, I know what the platform can do. I can see your requirements. This is how I'm gonna translate your requirements into the solution, into the architecture. Also, I think very important to internally work on your processes and on your checklists. And checklist sounds a bit boring, but there are so many things you can forget. You must have your own process of how you sell, how you chase, how you follow up. There are a bunch of tools which help you with the sales. All those tools are good and need to be used. Not a single person was able to keep all the leads in their head and just to, follow up in the right day, in the right moment with the right text, because we all get sick, go on holiday, and then just forget. So you need to use some tools which will help you to communicate with your clients. Getting the first leads, there are multiple channels, and I guess that's a very important question. Where do you get your leads from? Yep. You can have referrals. How would you have referrals if you have no portfolio? That's a good question. So referrals normally come after. There are a bunch of freelance platforms where you can get some first work. It wouldn't be amazing work, it wouldn't be your dream work, but it would be something you can start and show. You can establish partnership with the platforms, same as Wix Studio. They have a great way to establish yourself as an official platform partner, and potentially in future, when you prove yourself, get some good clients from them. You should think about SEO, and hiring SEO manager was one of the best decisions ever I've done, because I suddenly appeared in Google for the terms which started bringing me new leads. So you just create an article on the problem that you hear from people, from your leads. So if someone is asking to integrate the same system 5 times in the course of a month, you should do an article on your website about it, optimize it SEO, put it up there, and here you go, you're in top 10 results, grabbing the leads to do the job. And yeah, after you've done these 3, you can think about referrals. And sometimes you just get referrals for nothing. Sometimes you have to pay the introduction fee for the referrals, whichever it works, as long as it works, as long as people, if you're doing a good job, people will recommend you. That's a rule.
Awesome. I love that. And I love how you specified, like, definitely platforms for freelancers first, try to get your early work there. And I think it's also important that a lot of people that are in our community that, you know, day one, they set up an account and they sit there waiting for work to come to them. I think, how would you respond to, let's just say we're talking to somebody that is trying to get on these platforms, another detail or layer in, set up your account. Let's say they set up their account. What should they do on these freelance platforms? Are they applying to things? How are they applying to things? I know we're getting a little granular, but we got to speak to these people.
Yeah. I mean, let me add a bit. So in sales, there is an aspect of inbound and outbound, right? So inbound, when clients come to you, that's SEO, that's referrals. And outbound is when you go and search for them. The trick with outbound is normally it's something cold, right? You're looking for someone who might need it, might not. You might be messaging on LinkedIn and say, like, do you need it? And you don't know if they need it or not, right? So that's outbound. Outbound is a bit depressing sometimes, because sometimes you don't get very little to no response. Inbound is great because you suddenly have a person who needs something right now. So I would concentrate on inbound activities in the beginning, because you just don't have that luxury of spending budgets or spending your time on the outbound. And there are a bunch of inbound activities available in the current IT world. And yeah, nobody knows which one is better. It's like, which one are you better in? You have to identify it and work on it.
And when you say inbound, can you unpack that a little bit for us? I know you kind of, I know what you're saying, but for the audience here, can you unpack, because you kind of explained what that was to us and then you put a different term on it. Can you explain what you mean by, go ahead.
So once again, inbound is when you just sit and wait for the business to appear. Yeah, that's a dream. But to get to that dream, there is a process of years and months that needs to be done in optimizing your site. So let's talk about SEO. SEO is the inbound, right? So if you optimize your website, and I always say to my clients, if you want to rank in Google by anything except your name, because it's not rocket science to rank in Google for your name, the rocket science is to get by the service that that business is providing, you need to become a sort of Wikipedia. Because I don't know if you notice, Wikipedia always ranks first, and they don't pay anything to Google for the ads. Why it's ranking first? Because it's providing some relevant encyclopedia style information. So your website cannot be a selling website if you want your SEO to be great. Your website needs to provide something useful, instructions, examples, like examples of code, some hints, tips, advice, some inside information, something trendy, top 10 trends for 2025, I don't know, something like that. That brings you traffic. And if you have in the footer of your site, you have the contact form where people can suddenly ask you further questions, because on the page you give them impression that you can do it all. You give them some information, but not the whole answer. They will fill in that form in the bottom of the site and potentially become your client. Another inbound is when you establish those partnerships or those referrals, and you just sit and wait for people to come and bring you the business. It can be through the network of the sales reps. It can be, well, freelance platforms. It depends if it's inbound or outbound. You normally have to reach it out, but you're getting the leads, so it's kind of a mix. But yeah, I mean, and big advice is to never concentrate on one. And when you matured on one, or even if you haven't matured on one, do something in parallel and think, okay, what else can I do? Where else can I find? Because you never know where things change, both with platforms, with your referrals. Sometimes Google is very naughty. It has the mood, right? And mood is changing. It has those algorithm updates, and you've been in top position in Google, and next day you're not even in top 100, and there are no reasons for that. It's just the algorithm has changed. So yeah, never rely on something one, and always try to kind of make yourself future proof in terms of, okay, what if this will fail? What I'm gonna do? And if to follow this logic, I guess you're ready for everything.
I love that. Google is very naughty. No, but I love how you said, because we can't stay still. There's not one solution fits all, or like there's not one best solution. We have to do the SEO. We have to learn a little bit of a sales process so that we can do our outbound sort of work on the freelance platforms. And just to get one last thing here, and then we'll change direction. But I'm trying to steal as much as we can from you in the time slot from everybody, because we're already getting here in the chat that people are really getting a lot of value from this, and a lot more value for us to dig into. But we're trying to steal all of Oleg's brain here. So we talked about platforms, we talked about referrals, we talked about partnerships with platforms, which is very much not talked about, which I'm very happy that you mentioned that, because there's people that you can actually partner with, the Wix Studios, you can partner with the Webflows, you can partner with the Framers, because there's an incentivization to find the best talent using platform, not only get them out there as a promotional thing, but also it's a two-way street. Wix Studios looking for the best of the best, and also to help promote themselves, but in finding the best talent, they're going to reward you with giving you like high profile work to help them get their brand out there. Not sure if that makes sense to everybody, but Wix Studio is looking for top talent, and top talent is looking for work. So Wix Studio, in order to get their brand and their platform out there, happy to compensate those top tier talents with great brands out there looking to get work done.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Let me add something to that. That will explain it
please.
to everyone. So Wix is the shop where you can buy the brush and the color, but they don't have a painter. So they're not interested in having a painter in-house, at least yet. So they're working with agencies like mine and thousands of others who deliver great job for their leads, enterprise leads at the same time. And you need to establish and nurture those relationships with them, and it will pay off.
Well said. We'll leave that at that.
I wanted to jump in here for a second. So we've talked about your business from kind of a freelance and growing clients perspective. I wanted to talk about it from like you as an employer for a second, if you're okay with that. So you have a team of, I think you said 20 or 23, and that's very impressive. So what do you do? How do you go about finding those people? What do you look for when you're considering to hire them? And what of the people that you've hired, what like stands out and makes you think like, I want this person, I need this person on my team?
Very good question. Very interesting. My approach is so different, and I will get, I think, a lot of comments when I will start explaining what it is, but I'm happy to share. So first of all, all my employees are full-time. I really don't like working on the contract basis. There are many reasons for that. One of the main reasons is I need person to be available when I need them, because client has a deadline. If I'm working with a contractor who is not the employee, they might just say, look, I'm busy and I need to find someone else, check how they work and stuff like that. When I do my interviews, I normally check two things: is how technically aware the person is. I ask the simple question is how the website works, and trust me, 8 out of 10 people cannot explain to me how the website appears in our browsers. I don't really rate 10 years of experience. I'm not looking for that. I think nowadays things are changing. Like doing like 4 years degree or 5 years degree, and then having 10 years experience doesn't sound to me as attractive as someone who is very bright, very capable, watching a lot of videos on YouTube, some tutorials, did something themselves, even if it wasn't in employment, even if it wasn't something commercial, really eager to prove themselves, but needs to be given a chance. So those sort of people I'm trying to find, that like they want to prove not to me, not to the world, but maybe to themselves, that they're capable of doing the career they've chosen. And it relates to both developers, designers, SEO people, project managers. And yeah, I'm just looking for the perfect mix of technical awareness of how the websites, mobile apps work, and then some specific for the role things like SEO knowledge, design knowledge, or the coding knowledge, which we are checking. So that's my approach.
Awesome. Yeah, that was very thorough. Brandon, do you have anything to add on that?
I do, actually. Well, not add on to. We're going back to this is the last, I said it was the last thing about the whole sales process, but there's questions still popping up in the chat. We talked about, what channels are you getting in leads, and you talked about your sales process and checklists that you have, just SOPs, standard operating. But, there's a question in regards to, can we talk a little bit about warm outreach? And also in regards to your warm outreach approach, this is something you've done in the past and you rely on other things such as referrals and your partnerships as of now. But when you had to really rely on your early days sales process, what was your process? Was there a course or some sort of person that you or book that kind of taught you your sales process? What was it that you were using in the early days for your sales process when it came to warm outreach?
Yeah, good question again. It wasn't any book, it wasn't any knowledge, it was just learning for yourself. And the more I speak with fellow agencies, I realize that we all have absolutely different processes to sell. And there is no one way, because I think it has to be adjusted to your skills. So I have certain skills, so that process works for me. The other agency owner has that skill, so that there is no one fits all. There is just like a theory or indication, but then it has to be heavily adjusted to what you're good at, what you're bad at. The warm outreach, I think one of the things I was doing, so LinkedIn is quite a good tool, and there are quite a lot of tools for LinkedIn automation. I don't know if you've heard about them. They're perfectly legal, and there is nothing wrong with them. So there are tools who kind of, you target the audience, it can add permitted amount of people to your friends and then send them that first message, and if they reply you can take it from there. That saves time, as like nobody has time to sit and add 60 or 70 people a day and just send them the same message. Another thing, I think I was using a tool that was like a scrapper from Google Maps. Let's say I wanted to target, it was a bit cold outreach, but let me explain you why it was actually warm. So let's say I have done a really nice website for yoga studio in London, and I want to target all other yoga studios in London. So there are tools where you can scrap from Google Maps, again, perfectly legal, GDPR compliant, because everything that's in the public access, like information Google Maps, is totally fine for you to email to. Right? You cannot email to people that never gave you their details, but if they put their details online on Google Maps, perfectly fine for you to take those details and send them the first email. Well, someone will call it spam, but it's not spam. They put their details online. So you can scrap the list, and I remember it was like 1,200 yoga studios in London, and then you can use Wix or MailChimp or any other Sendinblue service, which is sending emails, sending them an email saying like, look, I have recently done a website for yoga studio, and these are the features that I have gave them, like booking, mobile app, payment on the website, ability to change, modify, all of that. Do you think any of those services appeal to you? Because we can complement your website with them. So that was how I initially started. Now with the use of AI, we're actually personalizing those 1,000, 2,000 emails. We actually analyze every studio with the use of AI and write a half personalized email specific to them and send it.
There we go.
Yeah, but that's not there. Back in times, ChatGPT unfortunately wasn't available. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that. It's and I highly recommend you guys, just for if you guys are watching this and you have a lot of questions, like there are literal, hopefully we get the time to actually get somebody or pay somebody to do a workshop and a workflow of what Oleg is talking about here. But this is not just from one person that I've heard. This is a very good way to scale up and still at mass, but also personally talk to your type of niche client. Like the whole example Oleg is given, he has an example yoga site where he then is just using technology to, if you guys scrape, at least that's, I knew it sounded like he was saying scrap, but basically he's using tools to scrape data on the web that matches his avatar that he's going after, using the initial yoga studio, show to thousands of other people, hey, this is what's in the within the website, other features that you guys might be interested. Are you interested? He basically just gives them a call to action to start that conversation. Very good process. I use this process in back in the day, but my business model changed. Rather do community stuff, but it's a great way for you to reach a lot of people, a lot of the right people. But you can mess this up as well, because some people just learn about the tool, about the scraping, and they never learn how to personalize the information, like actually talk to your target avatar. So that was beautiful, Oleg. Let's move on. All right, that's what I was fishing for.
One
I'm
more
glad we got
important
that.
thing.
Yeah,
One
go ahead.
important thing: never use your domain when you're sending those email campaigns, because Google will punish you for sending mass emails which are very similar. So you can buy just another domain, warm it up a bit, and you can Google what is warming up domain, and then send it from there. Otherwise, you don't want your domain authority to fall because you're sending thousands or 100,000s or millions of emails a month from your email, from your domain.
That's a pro tip right there.
Yes, it is. This is the real game, guys. You came to a great session today. All right, so we'll move on from that. Let me very quickly scrub through. We got a couple questions popping in, and I want to just make sure that none of these are a part of conversations we've moved from. And also, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to try to, we still have about, close to a little bit less than half an hour left, but try to, at least if you haven't put your questions in the chat already, try to save them for the last piece of it. Because I do want to be able to squeeze as much as possible from Oleg before we get to questions that he might answer as we go through this stuff. But all right. So would you say, Oleg, that is there one strategy or decision that kind of made a huge impact on your agencies throughout the year? Can you think back to maybe something that has been recent, or in the past, one decision that you've made that has really changed things? Business.
In terms of growth.
We if that's the way you want to take it, it could be growth, it could be something else entirely, but I think at the end of the day, probably growth.
So the first most important thing I've done was, as I said, hiring Velo developer. Suddenly you're expanding yourself to so much work that barely anyone can do. Second thing for the agency growth was SEO manager, right? I think that, again, you're first of all providing service for your clients, because I always say that website is not the ad on the fence, right? If you pass by, you won't see it. So unless you add your website manually to Google, it won't just on its own work. So it has to be optimized. So you're doing it for the client and you're doing it for yourself. So I guess these two people, I would start from hiring them to scale the agency. And then you can just, as you get more work, multiply teams, services, grow, and stuff like that. But these are the two major: coding and SEO. On top of design that hopefully you are yourself doing, because you need to know Wix and architecture, and designer is probably the best placed person to know it.
Awesome. That's a great answer. So first hire, basically duplicate yourself so you have more time. And to kind of tie back to this, it sounds like the SEO manager, just you focusing on SEO, is a really big way for you to get some inbound clientele. Do you get a lot of your clients through SEO? Is that why that's been a big thing?
I do get some of the clients from certain group only through SEO, and it all perfectly aligns with our rankings. So if you type something like WordPress to Wix in Google, you will probably see us first. Hopefully, I was checking this morning; we're still first. So we're kind of grabbing all the traffic for people. Well, not all, but some traffic, majority of traffic, for people who want to migrate from WordPress to Wix. It doesn't matter, Wix Studio, Wix Classic Editor. And I'm not saying each of the requests I get becomes a client. And again, sales world is all about percentage. Yeah. So percentage of impressions becomes clicks. Percentage of clicks becomes a visitor, and this percentage of visitor becomes a filled in form, and only very tiny percentage of the filled in form on your website becomes a call, and only tiny percentage of the call actually will convert into the client. So yeah, the more, as I said, if you provide some encyclopedia style answers on your website, you can actually grab some attention. So we do get from SEO group of services that we provide, leads for group of service provide, and through other channels we get a different group of services that we provide.
Got it. All right. I really like your whole approach to whatever problems that you solve, try to rank for it. And staying on the SEO page, we have a question in the chat from DL Simpson. Any advice on what to tell clients when they complain about Wix SEO? They say that other platforms outrank Wix site. What would you say to that?
I was reading that question on my other screen. I was hoping you will ask me. So again, this is my daily issue. I do have to fight the perception on Wix not being good for SEO sometimes. First of all, there are facts that barely anyone knows. Again, don't catch me on that. I think Google owns a bit of Wix through shares. So that's kind of no conflict of interest there whatsoever. When we create websites in Wix, if we want to appear in Google, I think they're the only one, or the one of you who has a direct connection to Google indexing. So they literally, you click submit, and then you're in Google in 1 second. No other platforms, from what I know, allow you to get that done. Speaking about rankings, so when people say Wix websites are not ranking that well in Google, most of the issues come from the speed of the page. Like Wix is generally slower than the other platforms. The reasons for that is the nice editor, easy to use that you have. Let's say the other web constructor pages, they have, let's say, 1,000 lines of codes. Wix will have 10,000 lines of codes. That cannot logically load faster than other platforms or a custom done website. So the answer for that is Google is changing. I said that Google has algorithm updates, and I would really advise everyone who care about rankings to follow them. Sometimes they say what has changed, sometimes they don't, but I know for sure that in some updates, speed of loading the page becomes important. And then suddenly for the next 6 months, they make it non-important as well. For example, right now, like 3 years ago, it was extremely important. Right now, it's less important. If you check Apple website, they will be in the red zone for the speed of loading the page. And suddenly AI became a big problem. Google right now is all concerned about how do I differentiate AI content from the real content, right? They all try to deprioritize the AI generated content in Google, or they want to at least mark it as like this hasn't been written by the person. So Wix has direct connection to Google. I guess you can say that no one else has it. Wix has the checklist built in. Checklist sounds boring, but Wix Wizard, it was called Wizard back in the days. Now I think it's called SEO checklist. Can't remember. Still call it Wizard. So it actually tells you what are the problems on your website which you have to solve. So it won't allow you to forget about things. It will actually be sending you reminders like, okay, you have to rewrite your title. Your title is too long. You haven't done your alt texts. You haven't done this and that. So it's quite intense, and it makes sure you're compliant for many things. I have not seen a single time the example where the site hasn't ranked well only because it's a Wix website. Not a single time. It's a conception that cannot be really proved by anyone with an example, except the speed of loading, which I explained, becomes occasionally less and less important, right? I think if you ask my opinion, I think for Google, the content on the page is more important than the speed of the page loading. Of course, if we're talking about 15 seconds for the page to load, you will not get anyone, because it's just people will not wait. They will just drop off. That's recorded by Google. Bad experience. Go down in search results, because we don't want to show you're giving our clients, the Google clients, right? You're giving them a bad experience. But if we're talking difference between 1 second and 5 seconds, I think it doesn't matter nowadays. I think what matters is the content that you have. How useful is that for the people? And Wix is amazing for that, because it has that functionality of CMS and dynamic pages. And who doesn't know what dynamic page, I strongly recommend to check, because it allows you to create hundreds and thousands of pages without doing them one by one. You can simply create a database which explains to you, let's say you want to create page on iOS development, let's say. And then if you create one page on iOS development, it will be very hard for you to rank it. But then if that page becomes 100 pages on different aspects of iOS development, and you write that content and optimize it, then you suddenly look like a Wikipedia, because you have so much content in your website for iOS development. Your general ranking will go up 100%, because you're not just providing one sales static page, you're providing a lot of useful information, and Google can see you have dozens of pages on that. And Wix allows you to create those dozens of pages very quick.
Man, I love how you're breaking down this entire thing. This is like a nerd's best favorite dream. I really like how you're breaking this down, man. So, yeah, I mean, just to simplify, not really, I don't have to add anything. But content is king. I love the fact that you're talking about some of the main features that Wix has, especially that whole checklist. As you mentioned, what was the specific name for it that the SEO dashboard, basically, that checklist?
Yeah, I call it
So
Wizard,
valuable.
but that's the name from the dinosaur times, before the Editor X and the Studio. Nowadays it's called SEO checklist.
Yeah, the SEO checklist is amazing. There's no other platform that has that, to be honest. And to be able to see, like,
there are plugins on other platforms, but it wouldn't be built
native.
in. No.
Yeah, and to be able to have that as you're building things, and even get alerts like, hey, you should probably do this, and this is, this is why you're not being crawled. This is, it just gives you so much. It's like a helper, that whole native ability from Wix just holds your hand the entire time. Like, hey, there's a whole section. This is why you're not ranking. This, add to it. This is fix. It's a really great feature. Okay, what other? Just speaking of like misconceptions about the platform, what are some misconceptions that you feel like some of your clients have had, maybe some of your team have had, and that you have, through talking with them, have helped them overcome?
Yeah, that's story of my life. I did explain it a bit when I was explaining on enterprise. Yeah, so the CMS is very much unique selling point for me. When I show people CMS and I say, look, you can create pages yourself after we're done, and then manage it all yourself and optimize, they love it. That's the first thing. Again, do it yourself. Why it is a bad thing? I don't agree. Do it yourself and simple is a bad thing. It's a good thing. There is a lot of people and leads who saying like, I want to choose where my hosting is, in which country that is located. I will understand if you have some legal requirements for that, like for example, if you take Germany and Switzerland, it has some very strict data privacy laws. But those data privacy laws do not say that you have to store your service in Germany. You can store it anywhere you want. But there are some clients who just say like, I want server to be in Germany. This is something Wix cannot offer. Why? Because That's not right. The right thing to do is to create 20 copies of your site around the world in different servers. So doesn't matter if person is in Australia. The person in Australia shouldn't connect to server in Germany and wait 3-5 seconds for the information to fly underneath the Indian Ocean into Australia and pop up in the browser. It should be a copy of your website in a data center in Australia, which opens that site in 1 second. So that's something I have to explain on a daily basis. And I think they buy it. Most of them understand it. And you can't choose hosting, but you shouldn't. And everything to do with hosting, I say, why do you need those problems in your life? Let's concentrate on content. Let's concentrate on pages. Let's concentrate on rankings. Wix bad for SEO, I just explained. So that's not the case. That's not the case. My own agency website done on Wix Studio, and it migrated across all editors over time, and we never lose rankings. We only hopefully increase them overall over those years. In terms of design, I mean, believe it or not, Wix offers some very cool tools for doing animation, complex animations. I don't think there is a platform where you can so easily add such a complex animation and design at such a massive choice and at so few clicks with your mouse, right? So everywhere else, you most likely would need to call your HTML, CSS developer who will add some of those features for you. And then they conflict with each other, break, your site is slow and all of that. Wix, none of that. And yes, animation makes the website slow, but if you use it wisely, you can actually make something very wow and very impressive in Wix. I would insist that no other web constructor allows you to create such advanced and complex design as Wix Studio does without coding. Important caveat. So these are the things I really emphasize when I sell Wix.
Love it, man. You're selling us on it again. We already use it. You're bullet pointing everything.
Yeah.
I love that. And because we have short time, we have about 8 minutes to steal from you again today. I want to kind of cut close to the end here with some closing insights. We did already talk about this specifically, but what would you have advice-wise for designers and agency owners in the audience who are hesitant to embrace Wix Studio, especially for larger projects? What advice would you have for them?
I mean, the concerns and the thinking is understandable in terms of it's kind of makes sense if you don't research. You kind of think, okay, it's a big client, so you kind of big clients want something complex. No. Medium clients want something complex usually. Big clients don't have to prove anything to anyone. They want something simple. The general thing is things have to be complex, has to go away, right? So you have to actively promote the simplicity and the agile and lack of responsibility in the things where you don't want to be responsible, and then it just works. Listen to the problems. Yeah, like every lead that's coming to you, they all have problems and problems with the website or with the business. So you're building for them solution to address those problems in your business. And you don't want to overload them even more with managing the website or installing updates. And actually, speaking about installing updates in Wix, you don't do that. It just happens, and there are a bunch of QAs that are doing that. In WordPress, if you're doing WordPress, my advice, be one update behind. If you just update to the latest version of the plugin, if your website crashed, don't be surprised. You've been classified as a beta tester, and then it just happened. So yeah, always be one version behind with WordPress for everything you update. So yeah, just emphasize simplicity, emphasize the range of tools, emphasize how much security and stability they're getting, emphasize the fixed costs, and they can wake up famous overnight and then they'll still pay the same amount 2 weeks. And and emphasize there is always someone to talk to you about your website. Even when my agency is done with the client and we hand it over to the client, they still have Wix to talk to. They have a massive, great support in multiple languages with people who have in-depth knowledge. They wouldn't do a website for you, and that's understandable, but they will explain every single aspect of your website, try to fix problem with you, send you relevant information, and all of that. You hardly get it in any other platforms. Most you can get will be the forum, and then here you go. Good luck with that. Hope that helps.
That helps, man. I'm not adding anything to that. We're just putting a period there, and you guys are just gonna have to rewatch this. This is like a master class in the happening. That's not even closed yet. All right, we have 4 minutes. Last thing here before we have you ask or close out with anything in particular. But looking ahead, what do you see platforms like Wix Studio shaping the future of web design and agency workflows? How do you see it impacting you, others? Yeah, give us a little bit of a taste and a look.
Yeah, so I have just 2 letters to answer that, which is AI. But everyone, AI, but I don't call it AI. Again, I've been on one of the major SEO conferences, and someone very smart said, there's no AI nowadays, there is statistical algorithm. And I totally with it, and everyone should see it this way. If you look into AI, there is 101010, right, in the code of it. So future is AI, and Wix is not exception, and they will use a lot of AI and implement more and more on their platform to automate things that business owners are doing. And doesn't matter if it's a small one-man band business, medium business on Wix, or even enterprise. They all need insights, they all need advice, they all need some functions, some ideas, like, it's not their job to think about the website, and AI can help you with that. It can help you with blogging, can help you to write some blogs or SEO optimize your blogs and all of that. What I see the steady demand is falling down is the landing pages. I really think we will see in the next few years that landing pages will be done by prompt and Wix will not be exception. You just type what you need and the landing pages will magically appear, and Wix already has something for it. It will just advanced. So for us web designers, AI is replacing some of the basic services that we've been doing, but the big and medium-sized clients will hardly ever generate their websites with AI because they need a human touch, they need to speak, they need something unique, they need to be proud of the work that has been done for them and have someone who will sell it to them. I mean, sales will never become an AI. I don't think sales can ever become an AI because it's a human selling to human always. So the state of the art website will stay, and in future the line in between AI generated website and human done website will be less and less, but it will be a slow process because websites are complicated, and it's a very competitive thing, right? Websites are all well competing when we're doing the website. Our clients are competing with each other. We're competing for the position in Google, the clients, and all of that. So yeah, AI is the thing, and Wix Studio and other platforms are no exceptions. And at some point, websites will be done with a prompt, but it's not going to happen tomorrow. It's going to happen in a good few years' time.
Well said, man. Just the fact that using a platform where simplicity is already built in, and as time moves forward, they're going to be integrating the AI things, these that you were just talking about, in one place for us to continue. Simply, I think that's the biggest selling point, where we have a foundation that there's a whole team behind the support, all that stuff, building this awesome platform that we just get to utilize to make our lives easy. We have about 1 minute here. Is there any final thing you'd like to say to our audience before we close out?
Yeah, I just want to say that I didn't choose Wix; it chose me. Back in the years, but I work very well. Still very happy with, and they don't pay me to say that. I'm actually very happy to use them every day because they help my agency to to operate so efficiently and effectively, and I can feel the support. So if you're starting agency, probably Wix is the right place to start, and then you can diversify yourself if you want to grow. So yeah.
All right, can't say it any better. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to learn more about Wix Studio, if you guys are watching on Instagram, put Wix Studio in the live chat. We'll send you an automatic DM. If you're over here watching on YouTube and you've not joined into the journey of using Wix Studio, check the link description box for Wix Studio. Get yourself a little bit of a taste of how to use it. And I think that is it. Other than that, if you guys love today's session, don't forget to check out Oleg's information down in the description box on YouTube. And if you guys want to watch more of these sessions, make sure to join the Newform community by either going to newform.community, or if you're on YouTube, it's in the description box, or if you are on Instagram, type join in the live chat. We'll send you an automatic DM. But that is it from me, your host, Brandon Groce, Jan, and the infamous Oleg Davydov. Oleg, thank you again so much for your time today, and we will see you next time. Take it easy, guys.
Pleasure. Bye-bye.
Bye.